Being 58 is the best time to rock. Life lessons from a Gen X guitarist. Here is the unfiltered truth about aging and how it's changed my perspective on music, creativity, and life. We've had to endure a lot. Gen X is a unique generation. As you can see, I'm way into music. I'm completely creative. And, I grew up in a time when there was nothing but tube amps and, the most basic technology possible, cable, a handful of pedals. We didn't have tons of pedals growing up as a Gen X guitarist, but we learned to be creative without them. I can remember playing on the Sunset Strip and not having a pedal board, of plugging in a tuner before you go on to the stage and keeping your guitar in tune the entire show. Having no pedals. How do you navigate that? The reality is this, man. There's a lot of great sounds you can get out of a guitar plugged straight into a cranked amplifier. And that is how we did it back in the day. I can remember playing the Roxy Theater on the Sunset Strip and playing my first sound check there when the sound man realized that I played with dynamics and that my guitar was plugged straight into the amp and the amp was dimed. And then when I needed to play dynamically, when I needed to play quieter, when I needed a clean sound, all I did was just roll my finger on the volume control, roll back the volume, and play softer. When he realized that I was playing with dynamics, I was not just blasting away, a sound man knew that I was going to essentially mix myself during the show, just like I'd been doing at the weeks of rehearsal before I got on that stage. And that is something that us Gen Xers are unique in that now we have seen all of the technology that has happened. And, yes, I still love my tube amps. I still love playing, into a cranked amp with no pedals. But we are the generation that has embraced technology all along. And I've seen it come from zero to nothing to where we are now, where I've got a smartphone going right now with a great camera, a great microphone, and I'm able to make a video, put it on my computer, edit it up, and put it out on YouTube. Gen X is a unique generation in that we embraced technology because we were so independent. We are uniquely equipped to thrive in today's world of hustle and digital burnout. We're resilient. We have grit. We have DIY, do-it-yourself spirit. We are a unique generation, and that is why it is the time to rock. And I don't just mean playing music. It is the time to embrace all of these things. If I had had these tools when I was 20 years old, I would have conquered the world. The reality is that. But you know what? We have this technology now, and we're not too old to use it, to spread the truth, to share our knowledge, and to get our message out to the world of resilience and embracing change and being able to adapt. We are the chameleons of the world. We are the generation that has, seen everything pass by, and we have walked right along with it. Nothing can stop us. Now, embracing technology is exactly what I'm doing right here on YouTube. And like I said, I like to plug into tube amps and use old technology. I've obviously got my foot here with these guitars in the analog world, but I am not afraid to use modeling technology or computer recording or any of that because, man, I wish I had these things when I was young. And people that are younger than us don't realize how hard it was back in the day. I can remember being in one of my first recording sessions on the Sunset Strip. There was actually a studio that was, I believe it was EMI, and there was a famous producer at the time. He went on to produce a lot of like pop, punk, rock. His name was Ryan Green. I don't know if you'll ever see this video or tune in, but I did reach out to him a few years back about having him mix something for me. So he is still out there and he is still producing music. But he ran this little studio. EMI had an office. It was further, let's say, east of where all the clubs were on the Sunset Strip, but it was right there on the Sunset Strip in a really nice part of town. And I can remember going in there with the just bare bones equipment that I had at the time. I had maybe one guitar, I had one amp head, and I had one 412 cab. And they were not the optimum, amps that I could have had at the time because, man, there wasn't a lot of money being made or generated right then at that point in time. And we didn't have social media to help promote our group. We had to do it by hand. We had to get out on the street, pound the pavement. I mean, I can remember being in that studio and not being happy with my guitar tone. And I've got one amp head. And I just wasn't liking what I was hearing coming out of the studio monitors because I'd never heard what my amp sounded like with a mic in front of it. It's always sounded good in the room, but now I'm hearing it in a completely, totally different light. The reality today, with the technology and pedals and all of this stuff, you can sculpt your tone. You can get a tone super fast. And, I wish I had had that ability back then. But here's the reality. I still have the passion. So no matter what, if I wasn't happy with the guitar sound, I was able to turn a few knobs and tell the producer, hey, put a little reverb on it, make it sound good for me, and I'm gonna play through this and I'm gonna make it sound good. I'm gonna physically make this sound good. And it ended up sounding just great. But man, we did not have all of the things that we have now to dial in a guitar sound, even as much as simple things like overdrive pedals and things like that people have just a plethora, a vast amount of things to experiment. Gen X is a unique generation and we are able to adapt. And the reality is now is our time. We finally have the tools that we need to get our message out there, to get our music out there, and to find our generation out in the world. I know that the majority of people that are going to watch this video are just like me. They grew up Gen X. They're independent. They're creative. They've got that spirit and they're able to embrace technology. And now we can find each other through this unique platform of YouTube. And man, it is an incredible world that we now have at our fingertips. That is the reality of the world we have today. But because we are Gen Xers, we are equipped to thrive in today's world. We don't mind getting our hands dirty. We don't mind doing hard work. People tell me all the time, man, you're the hardest working man on YouTube. I don't know how you do it, man. I've got the guy that comes and is like the supervisor of the construction team, at my house. And when they come to, fix something or they come to do something, man, I don't know how you do it. Well, you know how I do it? Man, because I wish that I had all of these things when I was young. But you know what? I have them now. And now I am going to work my butt off because I know what value we now have in the palm of our hands, this phone. I mean, with this phone, I could literally record an album. I could shoot videos. I can promote the videos. I can edit the videos. I can do everything on this phone. And if I'd have had this back in the 80s, like I said, I've said this before, I would have conquered the world with this because then I had youth on my side. I had looks on my side. And you know what? Yeah, now I'm an old guy. I'm an old dude. But the reality is this, man. I have it now, and that is why I am fired up and I don't mind putting in the work because now is our time, our call for action. Gen X, it's time to take all of this technology that we've seen come and we've followed along with it and we've adapted it all along the way. We're the ones that our parents, older generations come to and go, hey man, how do I do this? Or I can't get my phone to turn off. What do I do? You know, we are the ones that they come to because we're the closest in age to them and they reach out to us. But we now have the tools we need to do the things we always wanted to do. If you want to record an album, now is the time to do it. If you want to put out a music video, now is the time to do it. If you wanted to promote your music or your business or your craft or your art to the world, now is the time to do it because we have the tools that we didn't have when we were young. But we're resilient. We don't mind working. And now is the time for Gen Xers to rock. Now is the time for us to do all the things that we wanted to do, but didn't have the technology to be able to do it. I've got old scratchy VHS tapes of me playing in my 20s. And the sound quality is awful and the video quality is awful. And it's they're out there on this channel. If you want to see, me playing at the Roxy Theater on the Sunset Strip, just go to my channel and put in Shock at the Roxy and you'll see it. And there it is. But that is the technology. We had to find a friend that had a VHS, recorder, camcorder, I believe we called them back then. And they would come and they'd take it to the show and you'd get this grainy, crappy looking with no light video. And, the audio was terrible. It's all distorted. The mics couldn't handle, loud volume. And so we didn't have what people have now. We have this phone. We have computers. We have all the tools we need. And now is the time for Gen X to rock. So I want to hear about your experiences growing up Gen X. We didn't have it easy. We're tough. We're resilient. I want to hear from all my Gen Xers out there. And I want to know from you what you're planning to do to rock this back nine of life, because now is our time.